One of the biggest mistakes you can make is to make a lot of money doing the wrong process, because then you now think you know it.
So I just dropped my app, www.ChisoLifts.com. Online personal training. You got custom meal plans, custom training plans. With the training plans, you got a video showing you how to do all your exercises. You could log in your sets, your reps, the weights you use, and literally every month I changed up your plan. In the description, you got a code BESTU20 at the moment. You can use that to get a 20% discount for life. New episode today. We got Debs from Stock Pickers Academy. We got Gabriel. Another brilliant episode. Yeah, make sure you stay tuned. Remember, each and every Sunday we got Lock Sundays. At the moment we put a sale on our tickets. Christmas is coming. Just because we're nice guys. See you there.
What's that on your hat? Stock Pickers, what is that?
Yeah, Stock Pickers Academy, that's what I do.
What's that?
So I basically teach people how to invest, but long term. So it's like the everyday person. Like
When you say investors in what, I'm assuming stocks and shares, etc.
stocks, shares, crypto, mainly. But then there's some people who are already involved in forex where I'll still mentor them a little bit, but I don't introduce that to new people.
Okay, so are you the kind of person that there's some people I dislike on social media.
I'm like Chiso, but for investing.
Basically. There's some people I severely dislike, and I find their behaviour abhorrent.
They're pushing the
pretty
thing.
asinine. I believe their methodology is poppycock, and there are plenty of nuances which I would like to discuss while I jump on my soapbox. Now, I find it interesting when there's a bunch of traders who come online and they petition people to give them money so that they can trade for them.
Yeah.
Now, the issue I have with that is that it's a bit of a win-win for you. So I didn't even ask your name. Sorry. So
Debidan.
Nice to meet you, Debidan. Sorry, we're just having a conversation. I don't know who you are. Sorry.
Man said you're so British.
Sorry.
They're Doom.
Oh, so you're Nigerian.
Yeah, man.
Okay, interesting. So, sorry. So my issue is that there are people who will go online and say they're traders and ask people or petition them to give them money so that they can trade for them. Now, for someone like yourself, that's a win-win situation, because you might say to me, "Oh, Gabriel, I've been trading for X amount of years. You show me some graph, which goes up and down, showing how you've made someone money. Then you ask me for £1,000 to trade, and what happens is that if the £1,000 works and maybe you've made, I don't know, £200 profit on that, maybe you might collect 10% or 20% of that, and then you give the rest back to me. Now, you've won, I've won. And let's just assume now that that £1,000 diminishes. And let's say, like, as you know, Rolls-Royce stocks have dropped dramatically. I'm down almost £2,000 on my stock. So let's say that happens now. Do you compensate me for that money if I've made a loss?
No.
So it's a win-win for you either way, isn't it?
Yeah.
Not
me.
No,
I don't, because I don't operate like that.
It's a fantastic. It's a
But
fantastic
for them,
business model.
yeah.
Funny enough you say that. That's why on Instagram, anytime I see someone follow me and in their bio they've got forex, this, that, instantly I don't follow back.
Nah, they follow me, man. They follow me.
They're like parasites.
Yeah. So how did you get into I was gonna compare you to ACN and Omi, but I won't compare you to ACN. So how did you get into?
You never heard of ACN?
No. So how did you get into trading?
Went Peckham, uni, and then I ended up in investment banking. Okay. So I was 20 when I started at Goldman Sachs on the trading floor, and there you're William Hill. Okay. You are the guy behind the screen, so you are making prices.
Sorry, I didn't offer you. Sorry, please take a seat, sir.
Do you know what? Yeah.
No one even offered you. Sorry, please take a seat.
I do this on the train, bro.
No, please,
I never sit down.
No, please,
I'm always standing. Yeah. So through my career, I ended up on the trading floors, and I looked around and was flying the coconut ice cream. Like one black guy, maybe. Do you know what? Maybe it was like 3 black people. You look around and you see, and I was just like, rah. So if there's not many of us in the building, how's the knowledge on how to manage even your own personal money coming back? Yeah. So there's 2 things. Number one, I knew I had to help people get into banking. So I had to do a lot of mentoring on the career side. But then number 2, I knew that at some point in the future, I'd need to help people learn how to invest their own money and get a return. Yeah. Right? So it started with the career stuff, and that needs networking. Bro, you can't help people get in if you don't have a network. So I had to network and come out my shell. I think I'm an introvert.
Yeah.
Some people disagree
Yeah.
because in the party you will think I'm the opposite. But I like my alone time. But when I'm out there, I'm.
When the Hennessy kicks in. Oh, I'm there.
I'm better. So it was one of those things where I had to learn my craft, and I've done my 10,000 hours multiple times, and I learned my craft through losing money, making money, like through experience. But at the same time, working in a bank, you've got the right mentors around you. You're expected to go through that kind of path. So most people have a pool of cash. They hear about this trading thing and they're gone, but you've got no, you're not starting from experience. For me, after 10, 11, 12 years, so after I left, I took a very unorthodox route in my career, and I left the William Hill like style where you're making prices using maths models, all that, and I went into eat what you kill trading, which is like you eat what you kill, literally. And
So
then I'm
break it down for those of us who don't know what that means.
so Patrick Truman, EastEnders, right? He goes in with a pool of cash, thinks he knows about horses, places some bets, and tries to increase his money. That's eat what you kill. If you don't make money, there's nothing to eat, right? And then you've got the bookies themselves. They're the shop. They're going to make money regardless because they've got the models. They've patterned it nicely. They will make money. So to be a good investor, you need a bit of both. But most people out there only know or think they're Patrick Truman. They don't understand what happens behind the screens. And if they did, they would invest with strategy, with a different method. So I've kind of moved from William Hill to Patrick Truman, but surrounded with very successful Patrick Trumans. And then from there, I've come back into William Hill, Barclays Investment Bank, learned about the treasury side, the plumbing. This is the plumbing of investing that even people who worked in the city won't understand. Treasury. How does a treasury of an investment bank? Because that's trading as well, but you're just trading different products like loans and bonds and interest rates. And then I got headhunted to go to the Channel Islands, which is like tax haven, right? Guernsey. But over there was a hedge fund that I worked for, and what they do is they use mathematics to trade the markets, right? So they built these, they've got PhDs, ex-lecturers from Harvard. These guys will come in and really build some monsters, right? And my job is to use my past experience and my trading for the execution side of stuff. And over there, I really learned strategy. Like some of it you can't transfer to to like your Hargreaves Lansdowne or your normal stuff, but generally you can cherry pick. So what I've done is I've cherry picked every aspect of my career so far and come up with my own strategy that I feel that, and then simplified it in a way where I feel the everyday investor, the everyday person should be able to follow this system process. So it's not, I'm not going to tell you what to buy. Neither am I going to take your money and invest for you. I'm going to teach you how to swim, and then I'm going to coach you, right? So my job is to help you become the best investor version of yourself, right? I've got clients, right, who like a stock, but I say to them, how do you know what size you're going to invest, and how do you know what price you're going to buy at? Because the average investor likes a stock, justifies it, and then just buys it and says, I'm a long-term investor, it will go up. Whereas what I come in and do is say, it's not just me actually, there's a community. You know, once you're part of the community, you can let us know before doing anything, number one.
How many people in the stock pickers?
So in the Telegram is like 6,000, right? But that even started by accident. I was still job hunting for like 2 years and just sitting on my savings, it was going down when SPA kicked off, because SPA was just a WhatsApp group where I said to people, listen, everyone who's investing currently, I said, listen, I don't want this to be educational. I just want people who are active already, right? Tell us before you buy anything, right? We can do our due diligence as a group, right? And it's mad because obviously now I'm teaching, but I didn't want to at the beginning because obviously I knew I was going to go back into work and, do you know what I mean? It's just draining. And what happened is, there's two rules I always have. Like I always leave like 30% of my portfolio as cash, and people are like, Debs, that don't make sense. And we used to have these debates all the time. And the other one is I take profits. So I'm not a buy and then hold to oblivion. Like Warren Buffett old school, because Warren Buffett has billions he can do that. When you only have like 1K or 5K, you can't have this. You can be a little bit more aggressive, and you have to build. You're in a building phase of your portfolio, so the mindset has to be different. So anyway, 2020 January, the waiting list for the WhatsApp group is like 300 people, and WhatsApp obviously has a limit of 250, right? So I'm like, okay, this is too much. Like, no one's paying me. This is too much.
So what are the
what Telegram you could go beyond?
Yes. January 2020 Instagram page. Someone told me about Telegram, opened it in February, and then pandemic come out of nowhere. Market crashed, right? Suddenly everyone's knocking on my door, right? Everyone who thought they knew what they were doing in the same WhatsApp group that have come up with ideas that I've made, knocking on my door. So I was like, Zoom, can you look through my portfolio on Zoom? Okay, cool. So here's me doing bare hours for free. And then the next one comes, and then the feedback starts going through, and then before you know it, everyone's hitting me up. Like, can you go through my portfolio on Zoom? I'm 80% down. Now I'm on board, whatever strategy you're using, because I'm buying, obviously, because I've got this spare cash, and I'm buying stocks that have dropped, and I'm buying. So like, Debs, you know what? I'm a buyer. Just teach me whatever it is you're doing. And then from there, I started teaching people rather than just being a doctor to the sick. And then from there, it just kind of became a one-to-one course, and then a group course, and then.
Okay, how much would you say? Let's just say what percentage of someone's savings would you say they should invest in trading? So let's say, for instance, I've got 100 grand in my savings account. And let's say I want to go into some form of trading, whether it's stock, shares, some do spread betting, whatever it is. What would you say should be a percentage that someone should be willing to risk if they're going to go into trading? Would you say I should invest 50%? Would you say I should invest 20%, 10%? What would you say the general rule of thumb is?
Generally, it's case by case, but for me, I always advise 30% of your savings should go to investing. Don't ask me what I do because the number is high. Everything's out into something. But I think generally, obviously, your savings should be a portion of your income, and your investing should be a portion of your savings, right? Now, you might run into a big amount of cash and then alter that as a one-off, and then just...
Is it glorified gambling?
It is...
And I don't want a politician answer, yes or no. Is it glorified gambling? And what are the pitfalls and the downsides of people trading? Because as I said,
and you know what? Yeah, I'm going to stop you on the word trading, because trading is to make an income. I do that, but I don't teach that. Investing is long term. You're building wealth, and there's a difference, and a difference in mindset, and a difference in expectations, and ultimately a difference in strategy.
Investing is more holding on to things like you said, the old school, like Warren Buffett.
That's a form of investing, but you can also invest. So if I say that pool of cash, right, that 30%, I don't want to touch it no matter what over the next 20 years. That's investing. Even if within that, you might get into something, market gives, Christmas comes early sometimes, right? If you get into a stock and you're happy to make 50% on that stock in 2 years, right? That's investing. But then that 50% happens in a week. Take your profits.
what kind of losses have you made?
Me?
Yeah.
What, trading or investing?
Whichever way you want to look at it, what kind of losses have you made? Because one thing we always talk about is the highs of trading. And I hate when people just talk about the highs in anything they do.
It's a good question.
Because as much as you may win, you're going to lose. And there's no one that I've spoken to who trades that has not lost. Like, I've got a guy who invested in Under Armour a while back, and I think he had about 300 grand in there. Okay. And no, I kid you not.
I believe you, and I know what's happened to the stock price.
He had about 300 grand, and it dropped here drastically for almost 2 years. He couldn't touch that 300k because with trading, as you know, investing, whichever way you want to look at it, if you put money in and you decide to sell when it's dropped, the money's gone. But then there's that risk you take of riding it out, and if you try and ride it out, you don't know how long that's going to take. So I'm asking you, what sort of losses have you incurred whilst doing your trading or betting or whatever you call it? So this is one of my guys trades, and this is basically his account. Okay, he does spread betting. So that's what he doesn't do it with trading 2-on-2 or like. So basically,
he uses IG index, which I use.
Okay,
so I do it all. So my trading is IG, all IG. I'm starting a thing with eToro now because they want me to be a popular investor. And that's like your legal way for people to copy your portfolio. So there's starting December, January, like I'll put content out on it. But all my trading goes through IG index. All my investing goes through Hargreaves Lansdown.
Is that basically? Is that like so? That's basically what you're actually buying the stocks.
Yeah.
In sales that
The
you're actually
real-
investing. Because
yeah.
spread bet, you're not
Yeah.
buying anything.
No, it's
Yeah.
and it's tax free.
And that's why.
So my bigger
use-
clients,
Yeah.
I say, listen, this is your thing, investing. You have to use spread betting. My bigger clients,
Yeah.
it doesn't make sense for them to be maxing their £20,000 a year tax-free limit when they've got 7 figures in there.
Yeah.
It just doesn't
Yeah.
make
You
sense.
might just go in spread betting. Yeah.
But with caution and in the right way.
Yeah. Because right now
I share my losses with the group. So my
And I'm
group,
losing right now.
my group, yeah, what I do.
Look, I'll show you. Like right now, like it's not much, but that's.
I've been using.
But you know what you've done wrong here?
Gone.
It's not actually your transactions you've done wrong. It's the fact that you're investing and you don't have an investing coach. That's your biggest mistake. Or you might do. Let me not jump to conclusions.
Funny thing is that you're right and wrong. So right and wrong meaning this. I'm a risk taker in it. So
Yeah.
so there's different ways you can study the market. As you know, this is more your field than mine. So I'm happy for me to be ignorant and you say that I'm wrong. So what I've done is I've gone into the little charts. I've looked like for a year, and I've done a bit of research on the companies. I've sort of seen the trends. So
Yeah.
for instance, Nvidia, for instance, they're basically
Computer chips.
yeah. So obviously, doing a bit of research, I realized that there was issues with Mercedes, etc. So I said to myself, they do computer chips. It's likely that these guys are going to go up at some point. So I invested some money in them about a few months ago. I made about £800. So I took the money out. Then they dropped, and I thought, okay, us trading 101 guys who mean that we don't know much, like myself. I would just see a drop and think,
You
okay,
do know-
it's dropped.
Let me tell you,
Go on.
everyone knows something. I learned so much from my beginners because you're an expert in what you know in your day-to-day, your hobbies, in your partying, what you drink. You're an expert. Everyone's an expert in something, right? I'm an expert in price. And when I say that, I mean logical reasoning to know what is because for me, it's not about being right or wrong. It's about taking decisions that gave me a good probability of being right and a low probability of being wrong. That's it,
Calculated
right? Calculated risks, right? Some people care about how much money they made, but you could have made, one of the biggest mistakes you can make is to make a lot of money doing the wrong process, because then you now think you know it.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah, but maybe it was just a fluke. It was just by chance it worked. So you
And
try
then
and do
you
it
go and-
again, and that's what I've done now. So
That's
I
it.
won, and
That's
then
most people. That is the everyday
I'm
investor.
losing.
And
I'm losing bad.
But the thing with stocks, right, you're only out if the company goes bankrupt. Otherwise, you've invested in a company the same way it's like buying a house and the value goes down. Quite rare, but you've invested in a business that's going through a hard time, right? What I do with my coaching is the decision making. So when you looked at Nvidia and you said, at that point where you're like, I'm getting in, I'm going to stop you. I'll ask you questions. I'm going to say, if you weren't buying Nvidia, what else would you be buying? And then you might have another favorite stock beyond me, whatever.
Yeah.
And I'll say, okay, cool. And again, then you might have 10 stocks that you've done your research, done the charts, and they all look like good buys. And I'm going to say, pick your best 3. That introduces another layer of thought, right? If I said to you, you can only pick 3 out of your best 10 with whatever method you've used, which 3 are you going for? And then you might find Nvidia ain't there, right? And then I might give you which will be my best 3 out of your 10, and I'll tell you my reasons. And maybe, let's say if 2 of them match, that's another layer of thought.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's this extra layer of thought that can be the difference between. And then what if I said to you, what if Nvidia drops 70% in the next 6 months? What would you do then? If you don't have an answer for me,
See,
I
with
will
me,
have an answer for you.
I've just learnt now. See, with stocks, I've just learnt now. This is my own thing, that when it drops, I just leave it. Because I've already said in my head, the money I've put there in my head, I've already written off. Like the money this money
That
that's in here
is
now.
70% there. You know the last 30%. If you buy a stock at $10, right, and you've got 2,000 for that stock, right, and you have the same approach, and it drops to $1, right, that's 90% down, and you have that approach to say, I'm just going to leave it, right? Scenario A. What if I told you that same $2,000, put only 1K at that price you like, and save another 1K for a rainy day, right? If it drops to 1, you put another 1K in. Do you know what your average price is?
Yeah, because
About
it drops. Because if it goes back up now, it balances itself
What's
out.
your
basically.
average price?
all that maths I don't know.
Don't do the maths. I don't want you to do the
Yeah,
maths.
all that-
What comes to your mind naturally? You bought 1,000 at 10, you bought 1,000 at 1. Roughly, if like 3 seconds to answer.
10%. That's like 10% or something. Because one
Now your average price. So like you spent at $10, $1.
5.
That's what the average person says, right? Roughly 5, right? But that would be roughly 5 if you bought the same amount of shares twice.
Yeah.
But you're spending. So at $1 or £1, call it £1, you're getting 1,000 shares. At £10, you're getting 100 shares. In total now, you've got 1,100, right? Your average price is actually 1.8.
Okay.
So it doesn't even need to get back to 10. By the time it's at 4, you've doubled your money.
And you balanced out
strategy.
technically,
Right?
But then there's the but though. I guess that's for you now to look at the stock or look at the trends and see whether you feel this is going to go back up. Because once again, I guess if it drops again,
If it has to go back up to where it started, or just from above your average price.
Yeah. So what you
different
would say in
things.
this essence now with all of my rubbish that's going on now?
You would have had a budget before you got in.
And my budget was,
And then we would have decided how you're going to spend that budget before you got in. And you would have known what the rough average price would be at each stage before you even got in. You would have done your scenario analysis already before you bought the first time.
But is it fair to say though that as much as trading is calculated risk, as you're saying, there is no guarantees.
There's no guarantee in anything.
No. I don't want you to do politician and say anything. Don't say anything. Let's talk specifically in your field.
Yeah.
Is it fair to say that it's a calculated risk and there's no guarantee
There's no guarantee of...
of you making any money from this?
How about the people who've been on S&P 500 for like...
No, wait, one second. I wanted to
There
answer
are-
this question.
there
I
are
wanted to
some-
answer this question
there are some
because people watch this
guarantees.
channel, and I want you to, as someone who's in trading, and people are watching this, is it fair to say that there are calculated risks? Yes. However, there is no guarantee.
There is no guarantee.
If I throw my money in that,
and I'll tell you why there's no guarantee. Because human beings are not good at following the rules. It's often what stops that
yes, my
guarantee.
friend, you're still doing
No!
You're doing hickey hacker,
No!
bro. I'm not gonna come and do this.
Okay, what
Listen,
about I tell you this?
Just
If
to
you
keep-
okay,
just
how
keep
about I
it
tell
real.
you this?
I like keeping things a buck 100
Okay,
here.
what about bro?
Everyone wants to escape the matrix.
Like, just answer the question.
Okay, how about I tell you
Everyone's
this?
Neo.
If you buy a UK government bond, right, as paying you 2%, right, you're guaranteed money because it's fixed income. They will pay you that. If you leave money in your bank account, you are guaranteed a 0.0001%, right? Likewise, if you look at history, if you invest in an index, this is hands-free investing now, right? History has shown that on average, every single year for the past 30 to 40 to 50 years, you are averaging 7-8%, right? So if you follow that, I can say with 95% probability, there's a guarantee that you will make a return on your money better than leaving it in the bank,
So
right?
S&P 500, for instance.
Yes.
What does that mean for those who don't know? What
Okay, so if a stock is a fruit, an index is like a smoothie.
Okay, cool. So it's been broken down into
Different fruits, different properties, all mixed together, right? So if you look at something like the FTSE 100, that is your 100 biggest companies in the UK, right? When you buy an index, instead of having to go buy Tesco and buy Sainsbury's and buy Marks and Spencer, you can just buy the smoothie, which already has the, you know when you look at the back and it will tell you the
So
percentages.
basically all of those companies into one place, basically.
Yeah, but not equal measure. Different, they've all got different percentage weightings. You know, you look at the back of a smoothie and you see different percentages like that. But what you're doing there is you're taking a view on the country. So you're now investing in the UK, right? In a preset, it's like a UK smoothie, right? So if the country goes down, you should expect your index to go down. But there are some, here's another thing. There are some stocks that when the country does badly, they hold up. There's some stocks that when the country goes bad, even if the stock is a good company, it will follow it.
Okay.
And if a bad company has a good correlation with the country, it can even go up in value, right? That property, that personality type of the stock is called beta, right?
As in
average,
BETA?
BETA. The average person don't even check beta before they got in. Did you check beta before you bought Nvidia? No. Right? So you don't even know the relationship between Nvidia and America and the S&P 500, right? Which is the biggest 500 stocks in America. My job is to bring that knowledge to you so your decisions are more informed. That's all I'm doing, right? Because I know you didn't look at beta because I've worked in the bank. I know about beta. How are you gonna know about beta? But then how do I break beta down to you, right? And I've done that, right?
So what you're in essence saying is that basically it's like you're a coach.
I'm a
in
coach.
regard. So
I do what Chiso does.
So basically, you don't tell people what to buy.
No.
You basically give them coaching on trading to understand the routes and methods that they can go through to have a bit more of an
Basically that.
oversight of what they're doing.
Yeah.
Okay. So you've clearly made losses.
Yeah.
Okay. Which means obviously.
But I show them as well. I show every single transaction I've made in the market on entry. So I don't just show a profit or show a loss. People follow me on the journey on every single stock. There's some stocks that I was red for 3 years and then I've done that averaging thing, out profit. People have seen that for 3 years. And it's like in the background, like, Debs, how about this stock? And I said, yeah, if it gets to that price, I'm buying. If it doesn't, I'll leave it alone. I know my plan and I follow my
And what
plan.
sort of losses have you made?
There was a stock recently I was down like 5K on, right?
And how much did you put in?
About 10.
Okay.
But it's
And what was the reason why it dropped? 'Cause I want to sort of educate people.
China. So China come out randomly, right? The stock is Metex. China came out randomly, and this is how my phone pings. China come out randomly and said, you know what? We're going to change the online education industry. There's too many billionaires.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, there's too many billionaires.
Yeah.
I prepare people for uncertainty, right? Too many billionaires. So you know what? All your businesses are not allowed to make a profit every year, which is why you invested in the stock in the first place.
Why would you want to stop?
It's communism, innit?
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
like,
yeah.
you know what?
But
It
the
kills
thing is,
competition.
It kills competition, but at the same time, you would want your people to be more successful because you see the rest of the world is more.
But that's the point. They're like, you know what? It's turned into money now. You lot aren't thinking about educating the people, right? So you know what? You're charities now, right?
Yeah.
So as an investor, obviously you got in because you're taking a view the company's even going to make a profit in the future, so on and so forth. And that stock had social media because they're on TikTok. They were educated via TikTok. They had crypto because they were introducing crypto into it. It was exposure to China. It was killing. And killing 4 birds with 1 stone is why I bought the stock. That was the decision behind it, right? And we got it at really low prices. Really low
I guess you
prices.
couldn't preempt that, could you? And
Exact. And strategy helps you deal with uncertainty. So let's say I say, you know what, you should never have more than 20% exposure in an industry or a specific stock in your portfolio, right? Last year, right, let's talk about losses. 2 stocks that I had went bankrupt.
you say bankrupt, and
Gone!
as in the company's
Gone!
So you were looking at it like,
Gone!
Oh, so when that happens, so when a company goes bankrupt, then obviously
lose
there's
your-
everything's gone.
Yeah.
Technically.
Yeah.
Not technically, everything's gone.
But my strategy held it.
Okay, being
But
what?
more importantly, people saw me. People saw that journey and saw how it held it and saw how I still made 129% return on the year. Right? With 2 stocks going bankrupt, gone, the
So
money.
basically what you're saying is that you may have made a loss on that one, but the other ones you had invested in basically balanced it out and made you.
And even the decision making behind getting into those stocks, I knew that these were high risk plays. And I have this rule, very simple. If I'm up on the year, if I've already made 50% on the year, then I take maybe 20% of that. That's my pot for high risk investing.
Okay.
Right?
So you've got
those
like
stocks-
you always have an exit strategy, basically.
not always, right? But 80% of the time. Because stocks are they're businesses.
And they're volatile, right?
What I have is an approximate exit strategy. And
They're
that's it.
volatile, right?
Yeah. Some are, some aren't. Some are, some. Look at people, bro. Not everyone has a. You know what? Yeah.
Listen.
Not everyone has a temper.
Listen. All right. Listen, okay.
Right?
First of all, I clearly I can always smell a. I don't know you're not one, and I'll tell you if you was. I don't miss my words. We can do camera, whatever. I genuinely believe you know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be honest. I genuinely believe it. And the only thing that I have a slight contention with, sir, is that sometimes when we ask, sometimes I'm just about to. Sometimes when we ask direct questions, okay. Sometimes I like a yes or no answer, and I like to phrase questions in a way where it is a yes or no. So if I say to you, is trading,
it gambling?
Is it a form of glorified gambling? You say to me, any business you open is gambling, which is true. But I'm talking specifically about trading.
Trading.
Yes, and investing. Because for
Trading,
instance-
yes. Investing, no.
Okay, so what you're technically saying now is that there's 2 forms of
Trying to make a return on your money.
So trading is, let's call trading the umbrella, and within trading you've got investing. So it's like saying you've got religion and you've got other subsectors. So the whole umbrella thing is technically called trading, but in trading you've got investment as a form of trading, and you've got day trading. So there are different forms of trading in trading.
I say investing is the umbrella.
Umbrella,
And
okay.
Short-term investing is trading, because when I trade, right, I'm doing it because I'm making money that I need to spend, right? Afro Nation, Ghana in December, whatever. When I'm investing, that money, I'm not withdrawing it.
Okay.
It's compounding.
Yeah.
If you can make 20% every year on a pot of money, right, it will double every 4 years. The
Okay,
maths works.
so would you say that would you say this is your full-time occupation now? Like literally, like your job is trade, whether it's coaching side of it
I
or
don't know
investing.
which makes more money. I think the educating is actually starting to make more than my trading.
And it's a good thing you've mentioned that, because there is a lot of money in coaching in general, whether you're doing personal training, because sometimes people need motivation. So as Chiz is a personal trainer, he studied. A lot of personal trainers don't have a qualification. He studied the actual PT side of things.
A lot of personal trainers don't have
Even insurance.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. No, it's not even a joke.
No. And so
Crazy.
you've
You know what is it? Like, I even had a conversation with a client recently, and I said, no one ever asked for your insurance or your qualification
Before.
So yeah, people just assume that, if you look
the part. That's what that matters.
that's what that matters. But I'm like, there's some people who don't look the part for various reasons, but they know a lot.
But they've got the knowledge, yeah.
They got knowledge, and they get overlooked. And there's some people that look the part that don't know nothing at all, but because they do all these gimmicky workouts online, people like fancy stuff in it, not realizing that to get to where you need to, sometimes you have to stick to the very, very basic and just be very, very good at. You need to be the master of a few things, and when you become a master of a few things, you become great at it.
So what would you say your journey is that led you into going into trading or investment banking? So you said you went, I'm assuming, did you go to uni or anything?
Yeah.
And what did you study there?
Maths.
Maths. Was that with the intention of going into some form of economics or some form of investment banking, or was it just a case of where you was told to do maths and you done maths?
Do you know what? Yeah, I think it was education and inshallah. Because listen,
He's gonna be a school teacher.
no. When you come out, when you come out the ends, right? You
And what
grow
ends
up
is
in
Peckham? Where was you raised in Peckham?
North Peckham Estate.
Okay.
Yeah. So you come out of there, right? I didn't know what careers were out there, right?
Okay.
But I knew that education was good.
Okay.
And then doing well in my education.
You said you knew, and that's because of what? Sorry?
Parents.
Your parents.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're saying your parents gave you that grounding to understand that books and learning is good for you.
Yeah. I learnt my times tables with the cane when I was 6. And you know the confidence that's going to give you in the classroom, right? And some people look at that and say that's harsh, but I know that from the age of 8, my parents didn't get involved in my education, just my behavior. Do you know what I mean? Parents' evening was good grades, but behavior, right? And because you get that self-motivation in class, everything else, you don't need your parents to check your homework because you do your homework. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Okay, so being raised in Peckham, then that means that you was what they would say you was raised in. Well, technically Peckham's been gentrified now, so it's a bit different.
Yeah,
But there's still pockets and estates, and I think estates is where most of the badness
yellow brick
generally
is still
comes from.
yellow brick.
My question to you now is this: is that we've seen in the past 2 weeks, we've seen a 12-year-old girl, rest in peace to Ava, who was stabbed in Liverpool. Okay, we've had an issue in Birmingham, rest in peace to Keon, who was basically shot and stabbed in January. And I think his killers have been sentenced now. Okay, now the weirdest thing about that is that I was mentoring 2 of the boys that done the killing.
Oh, for real?
No word of a lie. And I don't know how to even word this. If I say to you that one of those boys is a good youth, you're going to look at me and be like, what the hell are you talking about? I was mentioned, had his number, I chat to him regularly. When I saw the pictures, because during the pandemic, we couldn't go to the lighthouse where the youth centre was. When I saw the picture of him just the other day, I was like, what? Now, people are going to use an excuse and say that I was raised in Peckham, so we can now go back. I was raised in Peckham. And they're going to say, this is the reason why I committed crime and got involved in this sort of stuff. We're looking at all these murders going, right now we're on 28 teenage killings in London, which was almost the highest since 2008, where it was 29. So I'm saying to you now, who was raised in Peckham, who's now doing trading coaching, who's now Stock Pickers Academy, Telegram group, 6,000 people, Cavonchi top, Brightling. So it appears like you're enjoying life. My question to you is, are we products of our environment? And how is it that you've managed to come from Peckham and still make something of your life? Whereas there's so much going on around us, and there are adults who watch us who have got young children. And my question to you now is, how have you managed to navigate this situation? And I'm going to assume, and I always say I'm not a role model. So I always say that when people, I've done things that should have landed me because I don't ever take the moral high ground. I'm asking you, how have you managed to get to the position you're in now and those crucial ages of where you're from 13, I believe, to 20. I think that...
Nine. Where I grew up, 9.
Yeah, so how have you managed, and how are parents to blame? So I know it's a very broad statement.
Do you know what? I like your last question. Are parents to blame?
I know it's a very broad question, but I want to ask you, seeing as you're raised in Peckham, and you're now with a Telegram group, and I'm going to assume that you're on a straight and narrow, even though we may all do a little tweaking on the side, but I'm going to assume on a straight and narrow, but you're from Peckham.
Yeah.
And that's what I want to know, is like, you're from Peckham. How come Amanda's not getting shot in the neck like Saul Free? I want to know, like, you know,
covered in red. Do you know what? Yeah, I think I'm fortunate. I'll answer your question. Are parents to blame? You can only blame parents if parents are there.
Okay.
I grew up with people who didn't leave the ends until 21. Holiday was, do you know what I mean? From Chaos Street to Gloucester, right? Yeah. A lot of people didn't grow up with parents. A lot of people foster care, social homes, and some people did grow up with parents and still ended up in badness. But I feel like guys that killed Damilola Taylor, they live right next door to me. I grew up with them. Do you know what I mean? I saw the development, right? They had parents. I'd say they were good youths, but the thing about Peckham, if you surround yourself with the wrong people and you don't have the mindset to say no to certain things, like I've had to say no to certain things, and I'm ready to go with the consequences of losing friends or, you know, getting rushed or whatever because I don't want to do badness. Like, I can live with that. I'll take the beating. And I've also had very close situations where I might not be here today. Do you know what I mean? And my parents as well. I've seen guns pulled at my parents when I was like 6, and I think that
Nigeria.
No.
Oh, in Peckham.
Yeah.
And that
armed robbery.
Okay, and that didn't. And what did that do as a form of trauma too? So did that make you say to yourself, "I'm going to roll with a weapon"? Because sometimes we use that idea that, for instance, some of us carry weapons
Safety.
because of fear and safety.
Yeah.
So somebody who's been involved in an incident might carry a weapon because of the fear of it happening again. And I say to you once again, where you've got like, let me take ourselves out of the situation. Let's say you've got a child who is 13, 14, who is now, who's got a gun and shoots and stabs somebody. Would you automatically say that, oh, the system has failed, or would you say the parents have failed if a 14-year-old has a gun and shoots somebody?
I think sometimes it's a product of the environment. If you're surrounded by the wrong influences.
But you're from Peckham.
Yeah, but in Peckham, there's people who are black and Nigerian who grew up with money. I know that because I went to school and I knew who was getting the trainers and like.
Because their parents had business.
Their parents had money, but they just lived in a bad area.
Not even that.
Right?
Remember, Peckham is an area where, like, let's say, like, if you're Nigerian, it was just an area where predominantly Nigerians just knew that, right, they had family in Peckham and they had friends in Peckham, so they just went Peckham.
Yeah.
The same way, like, a lot of West Indians went either Brixton or back in the day, like, Ladbroke Grove and Notting Hill. So there was key areas where people go to, like, for instance, like a lot of Igbo people, when they landed, it was either Peckham or they went North London.
Okay.
So you have certain areas in North London that, like, everyone is...
They
know each other from back home. So what tends to happen is, like, where you even said, we were talking about, is it the parents? Let's say, like, some of the parents might be working long shifts, etc., etc.
Childminders.
Yeah. Some of the kids now, because they're left to their own devices and there's no parents around, and the parents feel like, right, you all know each other. That means you're all safe with each other. There's always going to be one or two
Dodgy cousin who is on badness, and you see
gonna
the money, the trainers.
the
One day.
Because my biggest problem with it is that when we use products of our environment, you have to bear in mind that there are people who have come out from these environments and made something of themselves.
I think they're lucky. I think I am lucky. Blessed. I don't like the word lucky.
Yeah, I was going to say lucky.
Blessed. I don't like the word lucky. I feel like... Do you know what? Yeah, it goes back to my learning my times.
Even blessed, but blessed isn't just. Isn't it? Sometimes isn't there?
I was fortunate.
Hasn't it been orchestrated? Isn't there a strategy behind what's going on?
There is some strategy, but I still could have been caught. Do you understand? Like with despite having good parents and trying my best to be on the straight and narrow, football almost got me killed, bro. Like people bring Shanks to football, you get in an argument, and I feel like from a mindset point of view, from young, I knew what I wanted. I knew I didn't want to go on the other route, and I knew that was going to be difficult with the people I was around. I had to be a bit of a loner at times, but at the same time, I can't judge because I know that in another lifetime, without my parents, even with my parents, I got in a lot of trouble in school. I just didn't commit crime. I got in a lot of fights. I just didn't commit crime. I knew where the boundary was, and that's an emotional intelligence.